My name is Amy Vanderplug. I'm the Director of Sales for Porter Hills Village and Cook Valley Estates. And I'm here with Joy Zelenak, who is the sales counselor for the areas that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be focusing on enhanced independent living. And today is one of my favorite kinds of events. It's when we have residents join us to talk about their experience in living here, how they made the decision to come here, all the things that we hope you are interested in hearing from people other than me or Joy, the folks that you really want to hear from, which is our residents. So just a couple things about our Zoom meeting today, which we used to do a lot of these during COVID. We haven't done one now in quite a long time, and maybe all of you haven't had to do a Zoom class in quite a while, but just as a reminder, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a button that says chat. And so you can type your questions or comments right in there, and we will get them. And at the end of our presentation, at the end of our conversation with our panelists, we will go through those questions and answer them. Anything that you type in the chats is anonymous, so we don't know who asked the question, but we'll address those at the end. But you can enter your question anytime you want throughout this presentation. All right, so we're going to get started. And what I'd like to do, as I said, we are talking with enhanced independent living residents today. And that is the area of Porter Hills Village that we kind of want to focus on. And so I asked Joy, the sales counselor for Enhanced Independent Living, to join us today so that she can give you an explanation of what Enhanced Independent Living is. Go ahead, Joy.
So when I'm working with prospects that come in to learn about our community, I typically talk about our Enhanced Independent Living as an easier lifestyle. It's a great fit for people that might find taking care of a home a little harder, or maybe they're just not enjoying it as much, doing all the things like cooking meals and housekeeping and maintaining a home and everything that comes along with it. So Enhanced Independent Living is a rental option here within our community. And all of our residents, as a part of their monthly fee, also get 3 meals a day in our dining room. They get weekly housekeeping support, linen support, help changing out their towels and their bedding. And they get a whole range of community benefits here that just helps make their day-to-day lives easier and hopefully more enjoyable as well. So I've been lucky enough to work with all these residents as they moved in, and I'm so happy to have them share their stories today.
So Joy, you just said that Enhanced Independent Living is a rental option. So is there any kind of buy-in with that?
There is not. So for us, this is actually a pretty unique product, if you will, on the market, where not a lot of communities have an option that is just a straight monthly rental or monthly service fee. So this is a great way to move in without that large upfront cost.
Awesome. So now I'd like to introduce our residents. First, just telling you their name, and then I'm going to have them each tell you how long they've lived here at Porter Hills Village. So our panel is with Juanita, Gloria, Bill, and Tom. So Juanita, you're up first. Okay, so how long have you lived at Porter Hills Village?
6 months.
6 months. So has it been a good 6 months?
Oh, the best.
Oh, wonderful.
It really is. I love it here. I just love it. It touches my heart every day, and I'm not kidding. When Joy talked with my daughter and I, it just was it.
Well, you told me before we started here that Joy took you into an apartment, which is now where you live. And what did you think when you walked in there?
Perfect.
Perfect.
I did. I mean, I loved it right at the start, and I'm loving it every day.
Wonderful. That's great. So Gloria, how long have you lived here?
It will be 2 years this month.
Okay. Okay. And you moved in with your husband,
I did.
but he did not move into enhanced independent living.
No.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I knew when we were still in our home that I needed to make some changes because he has some physical disabilities and he also has dementia. And I had been taking care of him in our home for quite some years and just knew that it was time for me to make some changes. So my daughter and I looked at a few places, but when we came here, one of the first things is that I love the grounds. When we came in, we saw all kinds, it's just a beautiful, beautiful grounds in all the seasons I've been here now. And even then, things weren't starting to bud and come out and everything, but now when they did, it was beautiful. So, and like I said, I was looking for a place for Alan, my husband, and also for myself. And so we looked at, he started out in the memory care facility, and then I had a room downstairs. And then after some time, we found that he really needed to move into the skilled nursing.
Okay,
And so he made that change as well. But I knew that when we moved that I wanted to be with him. So I was looking for a place where we could both come and he could get the help that he needed,
Yeah.
but I could see him every day and be with him, and that he just wasn't someplace by himself. And
excellent.
it's been a wonderful, wonderful place. And I'm very, it was just a really difficult decision for me to make.
I'm sure it was.
But the longer he was here, and especially in skilled nursing, they're like my family now, because I'm there every day and I've gotten to know, all the nurses and aides, and he gets such wonderful care that I can feel good, about him, even when I'm not with him. I know it's good.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, how long have you lived here?
Lived here a year in April.
Okay. So did you make this decision all by yourself, or did you have family help you?
No, actually, I made it myself.
Okay, and why? Why did you come here?
Well, I had a sister who lived here several years.
Oh,
She liked it, and I came and seen her. So I figured this is the place for me.
yeah. Now you said something before we got started here. You said that you didn't want your kids to have to worry.
That's correct.
Okay, so they were supportive of the idea of you moving?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. All right, Tom, how long have you lived here?
I lived here 4.5 years.
So you've been here the longest of everybody. And how has the time been?
Absolutely great.
Oh, good. That's awesome. So when you first were thinking about moving here, were you nervous about moving here or not really?
At first, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what it was going to be like.
Yeah,
And as time went on, I got more accustomed to what was going on, and I liked it more and more.
that's great. Thank you. Okay, now what I want to find out is we want to share with our audience. You've all talked a little bit about your decisions to come here, and I'm sure for each one of you, it was not an easy decision, even though, Bill, you said you didn't want your kids to have to worry. It's still not easy to leave your home, right?
I was ready.
You were ready?
I was ready to.
You were too? So Bill, were you having to take care of everything around your house before you came here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Joy said this is an easier lifestyle here. Is that true?
It's true, and the time goes fast, which
Okay.
surprised me.
Oh, okay.
He's a great walker. I see him walking around all the time and.
Well, Tom and Bill, you
Yeah.
walk it together after every meal, right?
We go after each and every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We walk the corridors all the way around. And it's
So you're exercise buddies.
sort of,
In the warm weather, we walk outside.
Outside.
yes,
Oh, great. And we have good sidewalks to walk, don't we? All right. So Bill, you said that the time goes fast. So what kinds of things do you do here at the village?
Play rummy cube,
Okay.
And I read a lot.
You read. Do you often get books out of our library?
Yes,
Okay, so that's a pretty good system, isn't it?
yeah, they have a lot of books.
Deal. Okay. Well, Gloria, I want to go back to something that you said. About moving here with your husband and that it was important for you to stay together. Even though when you came here, you each went to different areas of the community. But because you were able to move to Porter Hills Village as well as Allen, that felt like that was the right thing for you to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
And you have children, right?
Right, we have a son and daughter both in town.
Okay. And so how, when you talked to them about possibly making a move, what did they say?
Well, they really decided before I did
Aha.
that this was important because they just saw for me that it was becoming more difficult, you know, just to be able to do everything, take care of the home. And then also he had a lot of physical needs and he's a pretty big guy. So it was just a time. And I had to get to that point, you know, they encouraged me, but they waited. And, you know, I was still able to make my own decision and say, okay, I think it's time.
But they were worried about you, I'm
They were
guessing.
concerned about, you know, the amount of things that I had to do for him. So,
And that's very hard. And maybe some of you who have joined us today are in that situation where you're a caregiver for a spouse. And often that's what we hear is, you know, as the caregiver, you just do and do and do, right? But many times it's the kids who say, you can't keep this up, mom, or you can't keep this up, dad.
it's a big transition because you're so used to doing everything all day long. And so I had to make some decisions for myself here of how I was going to handle my day
Oh,
because I'd always been with him each day. And it was difficult for me because he has some dementia too, to leave him and then worry about him and think, well, what is he thinking? And, you know, I'm not here.
right.
So it was difficult
an
decision,
adjustment.
but as I've learned from others and my own experience, how important it is to take care of myself. So I take time for him and I also take time for myself and I've gotten involved in things and that's really good. Made some wonderful friends here too.
Well, self-care, I think, is a hard thing for many of us to accept that is very, very important. We can't care for loved ones if we don't first take care of ourselves, right? Yeah. Well, and I know just from knowing you that at least from what I see, you have a lot of support here.
I do. Like I said, I've made good friends here, you know, people that, I'm able to do things. I belong to the book club and we're all like-minded, loving books and sharing that and, doing some other things. One of the new things that I just started doing was doing announcements at lunchtime.
Oh,
And,
in the dining
in the
room.
dining room. And a couple days a week I do announcements and I love it because I just talk about what activities are going on, but then I try to do a little something special like a poem or riddles or.
I thought you were gonna say you sing.
No, I did one time, but I can't hit the high notes anymore. So if I start singing a song, that wouldn't be good.
That would be good.
But one time I did sing a little something, I can't remember, and it wasn't too bad, but I really enjoy that.
That's
And I've
awesome.
mentored people. Which,
Yes, you
which
have.
which I've enjoyed too. And one of my closest friends here is someone that I mentored.
So what Gloria is referring to is when a new resident moves in, Joy and I talk about who would be a good mentor for this resident. Because we don't want to just kind of throw you in the deep end, right? So we pair you up with a buddy, so someone, in fact, have all of you been a mentor? Tom has, Bill hasn't yet.
That's good for me to know.
And Juanita hasn't been, but you would be a great mentor. So then we pair up a resident with the new resident moving in to, I think one of the first and most important things is just saying, come on, let's go to dinner together. Because would you all kind of agree that the first time you go up into that huge dining room, that's kind of scary, right? Overwhelming. So if you have another resident with you who says, come on, I'll take you and you can sit at my table and I'll introduce you to other people, that's really a great thing. So that's what Gloria was talking about. Thanks for bringing that up. So Juanita, you said that you were ready to move here. Now I have to tell you, and Joy would agree with me, most of the people that we talk to say, oh, I'm not ready yet. That's what they tell us. So I want you to tell our guests, what does it mean to be ready to move here? What were you ready to be done with when you decided to come here?
I lived in a condo, 2-story with a walkout. And it was time to stop doing stairs.
Okay,
It was too much. That, and I had a courtyard where I gardened and a walkout, there was a garden. And as much as I loved it, it wasn't easy anymore.
okay.
And it was time. I just knew it was time.
So were you nervous about moving here?
No. I wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Joy made it so welcoming for one thing. And I was really ready. I really was, yeah. And my daughter, who lives here in Grand Rapids, just was the force behind it all. I mean, she didn't push it. She did not push me. She just supported me.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because we don't want like being pushed by our kids, right? No. So Bill, that's probably why you wanted to make the decision on your own.
Yes, I guess that's the reason.
Yeah. But your kids were supportive of that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so Tom, you said that you were a little bit nervous when you first moved in, but then you met people right away, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about some of the things. I know some of the things you do, but tell us what you like to participate in.
Rummikub,
Yeah.
walking. I like to go on bus trips.
Yeah. What kind of trips does the bus take
like-
you on?
Myers. Sometimes you go out to eat, to
Oh,
different restaurants,
okay.
the casino.
Oh, now we know.
It was just a week ago we went. And there's some other grocery stores they take us to.
Yeah, Forest Hills Foods.
Forest Hills Foods.
Yeah. So have you met different people when you go on the bus than you do?
Yes,
Yeah,
there's other people from garden apartments that go there that I've never met before.
oh, so that's kind of fun. Okay,
Meet new people.
yep. And Rummikub, now that's pretty competitive, right? You both
It
play at
can
the
be,
same time?
And you have to get 30 points to go down, and sometimes you can go through a whole game without going down, so it gets pretty boring.
Then you need to shake things up a little bit.
Right,
That's good. That's good.
I just learned how to play last night.
You just learned how to play Rummikub? Did somebody teach you?
Yeah, Miriam that plays with them.
Oh,
every
yes.
day. But you know what? They know Margaret. Margaret used to play with mine.
Sure, yeah.
We played 3 games. Margaret won all of them.
Well, when the women are playing with the men, I'm always like cheering the women on because I want them to beat the boys. So, yeah, that's fun. Well, so then when you move to Porter Hills Village, you learn new things, right?
Right.
Because you had never played that game before.
No. was
That's good. So what other things do you participate in?
a lot. I read and television watcher much, but I feel like, well, I'll tell you this. Before I came here, the second time I came to look at the apartment, I wanted to know if I could walk up to the dining room 3 times. Because I hadn't been moving about that much. And so, going up to meals is an activity 3 times a day. Yeah,
So you were afraid that physically you might not be able to do that?
mhm.
So what has happened in 6 months of living here?
Well, I'm able to walk the halls with my walker. See, and where I lived, there was no sidewalks. It was just a lane and rather bumpy, and I didn't walk very much. I used my walker just to go to the mailbox. So coming here now, I mean, I can walk to the Emporium, inside and out.
And that's the store that's on site here, but it's a bit of a walk
It is.
from this part of the building that we're sitting in right now. So that is a very interesting point that you make, and something that Joy and I hear all the time when we're giving tours of our community to people. Oftentimes they will say, oh my goodness, I don't know how I could live here and walk that much. And you know what I always say, I think Joy does as well, is what Juanita, you just said, which is many people are not getting very much activity wherever they live at home, because everything is in very close proximity to your house, you know, inside your house, and then maybe you walk to your mailbox once a day. But what we see happen is exactly what you described, that when you move to community, to Porter Hills Village, and you are doing more walking, suddenly you get stronger.
You know, to add to that is that we have a wonderful wellness program here. And the young man that runs that is just, he's so fun. He's a lot of fun, but he's very encouraging. And I go to his water aerobic class. We have a wonderful pool here. And I go to his water aerobics class, and then he does like a balance class. And in that balance class, we have to shut the door because we can't have any more than 27 people in there, 27 people in there. And you know, people that, you know, are in their 80s and 90s come to that class, and we, you know, he just always encourages everybody to just work to their ability, but he's so encouraging and it's wonderful. He does a couple other things too. So that's a real asset to this place too, to have such a great
It is.
exercise program.
We have a beautiful wellness center with an indoor pool, as Gloria said. We have a fitness studio where the classes are held. And then we have a gym where we have cardiovascular equipment and weights and so forth. And you're talking about Tyler, who's our fitness director, and everyone absolutely loves Tyler. And his classes are very full. And balance class is very popular, but it's also extremely important, isn't it, as we age? And the way we retain balance is through strength. And so the class that he teaches is helping you to strengthen those muscles that help with our balance. So that's an excellent point. That's good. Well, so Bill and Tom, you talk, well, we've all mentioned the dining room, but what can you tell us about just the experience of going to the dining room? Bill, do you?
I think they serve the right amount of food, and I haven't gained any weight.
Oh,
Which I
because you
was
walk
afraid
all the
to.
time. That's because you walk all the time. That's right.
I was afraid I would gain weight anyway. Haven't, it's hold steady.
Now, when you were at home, were you cooking all of your meals?
Yeah, eating it 3 days in a row.
Oh, eating it 3 days in a row.
That's the
Okay.
part I hate.
You hated the leftovers?
Especially on the third day.
Right.
So when you moved here, were you sad to give up all that cooking?
I was ready.
You were ready. That part you were ready for. So when you're upstairs in the dining room, I mean, we don't have assigned seats in our dining room. So have you kind of found your group that you like to sit with?
Yes, I have.
And you've met other people that way?
Oh, yeah, sometimes they're not there and somebody fills in.
Okay. So Tom, how about you? How are you liking you've been here a long time now, so was that a part of living here that was appealing to you, to not have to cook at all?
And mostly I put hot dogs in the microwave. Or go out to a fast food restaurant or something like that. I haven't done much cooking.
So this is better, that all your meals
Oh,
are
yes,
covered for you?
definitely.
And is that an enjoyable part of your day to go up to the dining room?
Yes,
You've met other people that way too?
yes.
Good. Good.
You know what the women say?
What?
We don't have to prepare the food and we don't have to.
That's
Right.
true. That's true. You don't have to make it. You don't have to do the dishes.
It's all good.
And so how would you say the food is? Because people ask us that a lot.
It's good.
Food's
It is
good.
There's variety and you can, say if you want half or not,
Okay.
the whole. And lately, they've had some really good soups. And like, that's all I had for lunch, because it was a really enough at lunch.
Yeah,
So we have choices.
that's good. That's good. And you get your menu in advance, right? So you know what's going to be served, and
If you don't want soup, you can have salad. and
there you go. So you
Dressing.
lots of choices. Good. So I want to switch gears a little bit and go back to asking you some more questions about how you made the decision. Now, Bill, you said that your sister lived here, right?
Right.
But when you were thinking about making a move, did you look at other communities?
Yes, and then
Okay. So like, how did you, besides the fact that your sister lived here, how did you choose Porter Hills then after looking at other places?
closest to where I used to live and
Okay.
where my kids live.
So location was important.
Right.
Okay. What about you, Tom? Did you look at other places?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, don't.
Okay,
We want to keep you here.
I'm
What-
happy.
Good. What about you, Gloria? Did you look around?
We did look at a couple places. Stacy talked to a person that she worked with and she mentioned someplace. And then we looked at another place and I told you that I love the grounds, but I like the buildings and the way they're set up and I like the balconies. It just has an older look to me. And the one other one we went was just too slick and new and I like things that have character. And I think that our building and some of the things just has a lot of character.
Well, I love that word. We have to start saying that more. The Porter Hills Village has been here now over 50 years, but we have character.
You do.
So
with the
that's good.
The wrought iron balconies and the way they have laid out courtyards that are just so nice and a lot of different flowers and trees and that's just me. I just loved it. So,
Yeah.
What year did this place open?
1970, I believe 1970, because it was during COVID that we were supposed to celebrate our 50th anniversary and then we couldn't. So I believe now we're in our 52nd or 53rd year. Yes.
Now, I want to ask, did we lose the character when we did our renovations this past year?
I don't think so. I think that the buildings themselves, hold that character. Inside, I think the things that were done weren't, like I said before, too slick or flat. There was a lot of chrome in that place and a lot of glass. And I think whoever did, made the decisions, it had a lot of discussion and talk. Some people thought, well, maybe we should keep the old, but I think that they really did a nice job with decorating. So no, I like the old, but the new that was incorporated has been good.
So Joy, I'm really glad you asked that question. So what we're referring to is, for those of you who have not been here, and I know some of you have, but we did a complete renovation of our front main entrance and lobby area, our library, our coffee shop. And all the hallways have all been renovated, and it was definitely time. But there's always that question, does that, negate the character and the history of the building?
I think when you come in that first open room there with the fireplace and it's very homey looking,
Yes.
which is character to me.
Yes, and
And
inviting.
also, different places, there's chairs that are placed, and a lot of times I'll bring my book out of my apartment, and just find a sunny spot and sit there in one of those cozy chairs.
Well, that's also a good point. So for all of you, but all the residents here, your apartment obviously is where you sleep. And almost all of you said that you're readers. And so I'm sure you're doing reading in your apartments. But all of the other spaces that we have outside of your apartment are an extension of your home. And I know all four of you utilize that. You guys with your walking all the halls, and that's been wonderful this winter, right? You didn't have to go outside and walk. I think we even have some maps that show the mileage of the hallways in here. So if you wanted to track your miles, you could do it that way.
Track right on my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, technology. Good for you. So Juanita, when you were thinking about moving and you came here to visit with Joy, have an appointment, but did you look at other communities?
I'll tell you, before the pandemic, I had even signed up to one in Kalamazoo,
Oh,
and it was on a Thursday. And that Monday was when the shutdown started. And I had and construction workers couldn't come in to do anything to the apartment. And this was in, what was that, February?
right.
And it
Of
got to
2019.
be Memorial Day. And I thought, this indecision is not good. I don't know when I'm gonna get in. And I got my refund back and stayed in my condo for the duration of the pandemic, which it's a good thing that I did. But then when it came time to decide on a place, you know what? And I think it's the point people need to know. There's no down payment, like you were telling about here. And I think that's a plus. I think that's a real plus, because where I would have been going, it would have called. And it was within my budget, but I like this method much better. I do.
So Juanita is reiterating what Joy had said. We do not have an entrance fee in enhanced independent living. There's no community fee. It's a monthly rent. So let's talk about the money. For any of you, was that something you had to overcome, the cost of living here? Did any of you do a comparison of what it was costing you to live at home versus coming here? Bill, did you kind of look at what am I spending at home versus what would the cost be here?
No, I wasn't concerned about.
You weren't concerned about the money? So the cost of your monthly rent, you felt like that was a reasonable amount?
Yes, I did.
Okay, how about for you ladies?
Well, I had looked into getting full-time care in my home
Ah,
for Alan,
yep,
something around the clock. And that was very expensive. And then I still would have had to have the upkeep of my home, be
Right.
paying property taxes and everything else. And so when I looked at that as compared to being here,
yeah.
where everything was all in one, we had two different places, but still it was the better idea or better option. plus everything else that I've already talked about. as
Yeah,
far as,
yeah.
You know, just being here and getting to know the people that are caring for Alan. You know, like I said, they're friends to me because they're caring for him and they're very, and I'd had people in my home taking care of him before, and it was a never ending recycle. And that was hard, of people coming in and then not staying, and people going in. And that's hard in seeing that every day.
Right.
So this was just.
So that's a
better.
very important point, and I know, you know, amongst the four of you, your story is unique in that way. But those of you who are joining us today maybe can resonate with what Gloria is saying. It's certainly something that we talk often about when we're working with couples that are aging at a different pace, basically. That, you know, it's very easy for us to say, oh, we'll just bring help in, right? Everybody thinks, well, that's the easy answer. I'll just hire help in. But like you said, it was never the same person, and you had to manage all that. So if somebody doesn't show up, then you're stuck and you need to figure out what to do. And then not to mention the cost of that and weighing that against being someplace where your husband is able to get the care that he needs. Now, I want to stay with you a minute if I can, because right at the beginning, you talked about the fact that when you and Alan moved in, he was first in memory care.
Right.
And now he is in the skilled nursing area.
Right.
So if you had stayed in your house and you were caring for Alan along with some helpers, but if, you know, there was a change that needed to happen, I guess what I'm getting at is, do you think that transition was easier because you were living here than it would have been if you were still at home?
Most definitely. Because when he went for memory care, you know, they were, you know, dealing with the memory issues and, you know, some of the physical issues, but he deteriorated, you know. When he went there, he was still able to use a walker. But as I said before too, he's a big guy.
Right.
And things started to change, and there, they don't have some of the equipment that they have in skilled nursing.
Yep.
And they also, which I really like, they have a nurse 24 hours a day around the clock. And I like that they're there all the time.
Right.
And in the memory care, they don't have that. They haven't needed that. So moving him there, they were able to move him with the equipment that they have, which is just the coolest little thing they have to get him on and stand him up and turn him around. And he still thinks a lot of times that he can do it on his own, but we say, no, he can't.
Yep.
So
Now I see you and Alan all the time, and he's in the wheelchair, and you have him all over this community.
yeah, I like to get him out and about a little bit, you know, and if he's feeling pretty well and I'm feeling strong, then I take him around and have him look out the windows and just see people a little bit, and he'll say hello to everybody.
Yeah, of
and
course,
just
he
say
always
hello,
does.
shake your hand or whatever.
And so if you hadn't moved here with him and you were still at home,
I wouldn't be able to get him out.
well, but if he was here, but you hadn't
no.
moved here, you'd be coming and going all the time, wouldn't you?
Right, and I didn't want to leave him. I just,
Yeah.
one of the things that
Yeah.
we just been married a long time.
Yeah.
And he's my partner, and I just wanted to be with him.
Yes.
And I just tell him too, because he's, you know, like I've said, he has dementia, and my leaving him whenever that is hard for him.
Right.
And I'll say, I'm here with you.
Right.
And I'm never going anywhere. I'm here with you. I might not be in this room right now, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
So,
And so many of the couples that we work with, no matter what area of the community they're gonna, you know, thinking about going in, they say the same thing as you. We've been married a long time. We don't want to be separated. But unfortunately, what we see is that you know, husband and wife very rarely are aging at the same pace, you know, or at the same in terms of their health needs and so forth. Your story is very common, but how you chose to, you know, live out the rest of your story, I think is really a wonderful testament to the decision that you made, but also something that is meeting both of your needs in a really great way. So thank you. I know it's not always easy to talk about that stuff, but I appreciate you sharing. So let's see, Juanita, you've lived here the shortest amount of time, 6 months. So talk to us a little bit about how easy or hard was it to make friends? Because I bet you a lot of people that are listening are thinking, you know, at my age, I don't know how I would make new friends.
It's a whole thing that can happen. It just is. My brother lives in a similar, not as thing.
Not as nice, she said.
But a similar situation. And when I was here just, maybe a couple weeks, he said to me, "Are you making friends?" I said, "Tom, everywhere I go, a person is a friend. No matter where you sit in the dining room, you're sitting with friends, you know, and everybody has a story."
This is true.
And I've got to tell you, just last week, I was sitting with a couple of men and they were talking politics. And I learned, I actually learned things. I mean, I had sat with a couple of weeks ago. He was talking technology about nitrogen and, all this stuff I know nothing about. But I left the dining room and I thought, well, haven't I had a learning lesson? You know, I think it's great. I do. Yeah. And everybody's friendly and nice. Oh, no. No fear or worry about making friends.
That's perfect. Thank you. So Bill, sometimes, probably more often than sometimes, Joy and I hear from men that we're talking to about possibly moving here. And they say, I don't know what I would do all day if I lived in a place like Porter Hills Village. And how would I get to know other people? So what would you say to that?
Pretty easy to get to know people because everybody's in the same situation, you know. I'm a quiet guy, really, and I've had no problem at all, you know. I don't know, I was just walking in the corridor and Tom come along and said, "Mind if I walk with you?" You know?
Yeah,
And that's the way it went. We walk every day. Together.
That's awesome. So you agree with Juanita that it's pretty easy to make friends here?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about you, Tom? I see you seem to know everyone's name.
It's easy to make friends. Just one of those things. You see somebody, they're very friendly and you start a conversation with them and just make friends.
Yeah. So one of the things that our guests probably are wondering is if you can have a car here, which you certainly can. But so of you four, who has a car here? You do, Bill, Gloria, you do. Juanita, do you have a car? No? Tom?
I did when I came here, but I got rid of it.
Okay, so that's interesting. So 2 of you have a car on site, 2 of you don't. So Juanita, not having a car here, do you feel like you're stuck here?
No, not at all. Because the Emporium is just so resourceful. And even look, cards in the coffee shop and stamps at the counter. I mean, everything that I've had a need of, I've been able to. So, and I have a daughter who I don't like to put that burden on her, so I have asked the Emporium to get me things. At the time I moved here, I had a grandson who moved out to Colorado. A synopsis of this. He had lived in Chicago and worked for 5 years and didn't need a car.
Oh, okay.
He'd ride his bike everywhere. Well, mom's moving into a senior place. What am I gonna do with my car? My grandson's out in Boulder, Colorado, driving my car.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure he appreciates that. I remember when my dad gave my daughter his car out of the same reason, and that's a wonderful thing.
It is. It's a
So-
blessing for both.
Juanita mentioned a couple times the Emporium, so we have an on-site little market, a store. It's actually run by Meijer. The Knapp's Corner Myers is where all the groceries and things come from. And Judy, who runs the store, is an employee of Meijer. And so she stocks a lot of things, but Juanita, if you wanted something special,
You
Judy.
call her on a Monday or a Wednesday, and she'll have it to you the next day at your door.
So Judy will go get it for you. That's great. But then Tom, you also said that now you don't have a car here, but you go on the bus to Myers to get groceries or whatever you want.
Yes,
So it hasn't been a hardship for you to not have your car anymore?
not really.
Okay. Bill, you still have your car, so how are you coming and going on a pretty regular basis?
Not every day, but quite a bit.
Okay. And so are you parked in one of our garage spots?
Yeah,
Okay, so we have on-site garage parking. That's an additional cost. You don't have to be in the garage. Where is your car, Gloria?
I do both. I have it outside and then I put it in the garage for winter.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I think that's very helpful. You can certainly be here with a car, no problem with that, but you can also live here very nicely without one, right?
Yeah. I
Okay,
was only driving to church and to the grocery store when I was home. So,
so then you get to a point where you say, why do I have this car?
right,
Why am I paying the insurance on it when I don't
exactly,
use it that much?
yeah.
One important thing about the Emporium too, we mentioned that Judy is a Meijer employee. She's also a pharmacy tech. And so for us, she can also bring in prescriptions for residents. So whether you folks use that service or not, I know that can be really convenient for people coming in if they don't want to have to drive out to even go get their medications. So
That's a great point. Great point. All right, we're going to check in with Riley now because it's 10 to 2 and we do want to leave just a couple minutes here if we have any questions. So Riley, what are you seeing?
None right now.
All right, so on the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a chat that you can just click on that and you can type in a question if you have one, because I'm sure our panelists would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'll ask a question. I know the answer, but our guests might want to know, are we pet friendly? Now, do any of you have pets? I don't think so, actually. No. But are we pet friendly?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Small dogs and cats. For the people who have cats, you always see a sign on their door, don't let my cat out, because cats can be easier to get out
Sneaky.
than the dog.
But we don't ever see the cats, do
No.
we? But we see the dogs.
Yeah.
And they all
People want
know,
their dogs.
they all know to stop at the front desk and see Meta or Melissa because there's treats back there, right?
Can I add one thing?
You
that
may.
That I think that is really wonderful here too, is that we have, I think they're just called wellness guides.
Yeah.
And they are the most wonderful young women, and they provide so many wonderful things for people to do, from making crafts or planning little trips to go someplace, or little cooking things sometimes. But lots and lots of things. They're always coming up with different things for people to pick and choose, doing knitting or making cards or,
St.
There's-
Patrick's Day bracelet.
right, just all kinds of things. And they're just, all four of them are just really wonderful.
I'm glad you brought that up. So we call our activities directors, we call them wellness guides because their role is to, meet all those areas of wellness, whether it's physical wellness, social, spiritual wellness. We didn't talk about that. We have chaplains on staff. We have Bible study groups. We have Vespers services. We try to offer spiritual opportunities no matter what your faith is. So it is a very well-rounded program of engagement for residents. We have a monthly newsletter that comes out that tells you what's going on. And we don't take ourselves too seriously, do we?
We have a lot of
We
fun.
have a lot of fun. So you said St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah.
they're gonna do a pub crawl again, like they did last year.
Yeah.
They're very creative, these women that you're talking about. What were you gonna say, Juanita?
I think another we need to know is the staff here.
Yeah.
Just everybody is so kind and so cheerful and,
Helpful.
yeah, helpful, any little thing. The staff is great.
Well, we appreciate you saying that. And the way as staff for Joy and I and Riley, the way we view this is your home and we work here. So we need to be very aware of that every day, that we are privileged to be working in your home, with all of you. So we take that seriously, but we also really have a lot of fun with all of you.
Say you must enjoy your job
We do.
because we enjoy what you do.
Good.
Okay, we have some questions.
Okay, here come the questions.
One is, what is the cost of garage parking?
Oh, what's the cost of garage parking? Miss Joy, tell us, please.
$40 a month for our garages.
Okay. And then someone else said, do you have to join a wait list? What is the cost?
So you definitely can join a wait list, yes. And as we talked about before, there is no cost to join our wait list. We have a financial application that all of our residents have filled out. And a big part of why we do that is because we are a nonprofit organization and we have a financial duty to everyone who moves in. So the benevolence fund is something that we're looking at for all of our residents. So we are making sure on the front end that we are a good fit for what their budget might be long-term. And if they were to exhaust their resources while living here, the benevolence fund is something that would help keep them in their home so they don't ever have to leave Porter Hills. And while I know that we didn't necessarily talk about that a ton with our panelists here, I think that that's an important thing that makes our community different, is we have all levels of care. So hopefully due to finances or due to care level, you're never going to have to leave Porter Hills. And I think that that's really important because this is a big decision on the front end. So you don't ever want to have to decide it again.
Good point.
Going off of that, are all of the apartments the same?
Our apartments are not the same, no. So our smallest size apartment is a studio size. So it's a very efficient size for people that might want something like that. They all come equipped with a little kitchenette with a mini fridge and a microwave in there. And then we also have 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and 1 bedroom, 2 baths that can be a great fit for couples as well.
And then to go along with the apartments, is there off-season storage space assigned for the apartments?
There is small storage rooms right down the hall from the apartments that you would be in, yes.
And then for activities, is there a chapel, any religious services?
Yep, so as Amy mentioned earlier, we have our Vespers program on Sundays. We have Bible studies throughout the week. I know that our chaplains frequently meet with residents one-on-one as well. They also offer some support groups too, which can be really helpful for caregivers or people dealing with different things.
We have some opportunities to have pastors or a priest from outside of our community as well that they bring in. So They offer mass here. I believe that's
Yeah.
once a week. I think. So again, we're trying to provide for the spiritual needs of our residents, no matter what faith they practice. Good questions, audience.
Yeah,
Any others, Riley?
no, not that I'm seeing.
Okay, well, I hope that you get the sense that we could actually just keep on talking up here, because all of you have wonderful things to say. So I want to thank our panelists, first of all, for being part of this. But we also want to thank you at home for joining in today to hear from our residents. What we'd really encourage you to do as a next step is to reach out and come and see Porter Hills Village for yourself. If enhanced independent living, what we've been talking about today, sounds like the right fit for you, Joy is the person to talk to. And in fact, on March 21st is our next event, and that one is going to be here at the village in person, and it's called A Day in the Life. So what we're going to do is sort of introduce folks in the audience to what it's like to live here. So if you join us on that day, it starts at 11 o'clock. We're going to hear from one of our wellness guides, Maddie, is going to talk about all of those kinds of opportunities. We're going to have lunch, so experience the dining. And then in the afternoon, you'll meet Tyler, our fitness director, and he will talk about our great fitness program here. So if you're interested in either an appointment with Joy or coming on March 21st, we'd love to have you give us a call. So thank you so much for participating today. We look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.